2023. The time is 4:00 p.m. My name is Matt Zacher. I'm the chairperson of the Finance and Property Committee, Alderman 3rd District. If we could go around the table and room, might as well, and just say our names and position.
Jennifer Gossick, City Clerk.
Tim DeSorsi, Finance Director.
Gordy Ashbeck, Maintenance.
Jay Klingfors, staff.
Jay Bemke, District 8 Committee Member.
Dennis Pollock, City Alderman.
Catherine Alkirk from the library. Christy Bossert from the Humane Society. Madison Rafter, Executive Director at the Humane Society.
And we have Jessica from Wood County. I think that's her. Yep, okay.
Okay. And Dean Veneman will not be with us today. Item 2, review bid results for replacing the existing lighting control system at the Centralia Center and consider bid award.
Alright, so in front of you we have 2 price quotes for the lighting control system at the Centralia Center, and what this control system does is controls pretty much all the light banks in the entire building, besides the separate offices, so hallways, kitchen, dining room, card room, pool room, parking lot lights,
Building lights.
building on the outside of the building. And we have a price from Econ Electric for $23,380, and then a price from Kern Technologies. They give us 2 different models to use. One for $18,700, and then the other one for $22,600. We believe we can get that $22,600 one, the Lutron Athena, at cost, so that's gonna be a lot cheaper when we get the price quote. I'll get another price quote back from them. Basically, we are on our last relay with this control system box, and this is, I guess, has been going on for many, many years, and it was unbeknownst to us that this was an issue. I think people before us knew about it, but they didn't do nothing about it. It even says, Current Technology even said in their price quote that they were telling the city about this for years. So basically, we're down, like I said, down to 1 relay. If that relay fails, we have to buy this regardless, if we want to turn the lights back on. So, and I believe we'd be using the depreciation.
Yeah, we use a combination of some of our budgeted building maintenance, but between that and the replacement reserves, between the rooftop units and things like that, that we may need to transfer some money from the contingency account to general fund to cover some of this. Because I think right now we're looking at between the rooftops and these 2 items about $358,000. So we presently have $250,000 in our replacement reserves, plus we have contributions from the contingency, from the senior resource side and the commercial lease side in the Centralia Center fund of $45,000. So we'll have to come up with the rest either through existing budget funds or a transfer for contingency.
Where the 250 in reserves, what is that? It's just in the general building fund?
No, it's in the Centralia Center. We've been budgeting $25,000 each year since the building opened back in 2005.
Okay. What was the last thing you said, 40-some thousand in what?
45,000 is because it's in a segregated fund, any operating surpluses we put into contingency for these types of things.
So right now you're telling us that do it now or lights out?
Right,
That's
and
awesome.
we don't know, it could be tomorrow, it could be a year from now, but we just don't know, so we just don't.
I switched over. There's 3 separate control boards in it with all separate relays. So one of them is completely out. They quit making the parts in 2017. So you can't even get parts for it, can't even talk to somebody to how to program it. Current Technologies can't even program it. That's how, it's very hard to program. You have to have a laptop. They don't do it anymore, and lights went out in the hallway for voting somewhere else, and I actually had to bypass and put them on a whole separate relay, just so we have lights. So if that goes, it's gonna take out everything.
Alright, so this has been being told to the city, you said, for how long?
He's just put in there, it's been known to the city for a while.
I I've been here almost 4 years. When I first started, that's when the whole board completely went out. So then we took, instead of wiring in there, we just wired it outside the board and just we have 2 separate timers on outside the whole control panel that control the parking lot lights and the building lights, otherwise we wouldn't have them. So we had to just branch wires off and put timers on just to get by for right now.
I have a
Can't
couple
really say
questions.
no, I guess, I mean.
Well, I have a couple questions. First of all, do you have any idea what the lead time is on this? I mean, 'cause it's something they could get the parts and do it.
Yeah, so I talked to Rick, the owner. He was actually on vacation, so he, when he gets back, he's gonna give me the price that we can buy it at cost, because we have an account through Crescent Electric. And he also said he'll work with us if me and Travis have time to pull wires, to pull new, because we have to run on Cat5 cable. If we have time and pull wire, then he would allow us to do that. He'd work with us on it. He's not just trying to, he will definitely work with us on what we can, that he just gave it to us if we don't have time, and if we can't buy it at cost, that's the cost. But the less expensive one, he said, if we run into problems with it, when they all retire, nobody really knows how to program either. It's almost like we're gonna go back to the same, put a panel in that we're gonna have problems with down the road.
This is
The
the
18,
other one?
yeah.
That's the $18,000 one, yep.
So depending upon how much work we can do ourselves and any idea what kind of discount we can get on the
I
product
think the
itself?
controller, like with their markup is pretty high, so I think we can get it for around 6 or 7. The only problem, like, we could get rid of the controller, but we'd have to rewire all Centralia.
Okay.
Because it's 277 volts coming into it, but it transforms all of it down to 24 volts, so every switch is a 24 volt switch. So there's no lighting right now that runs off, so we'd literally have to pull wire to every single switch in that building, brand new, to have a normal switch, and that's gonna cost a lot to have to pull all that wire.
Okay. One.
I'll make a motion to approve the Lutron Athena system at 22.6, and hopefully there is a substantial discount.
And so the discounts you guys are talking about are all to be seen?
Yeah, as soon as Rick gets back, he's gonna let me know.
All right, and then ultimately, we're paying up to the 22.6?
Yep.
And anything saved goes back, just, like, where's this specific money coming from, Tim?
Well, like I kind of alluded to earlier, that between with the rooftops and, coming from existing budgeted maintenance funds in there, depending on what, where it settles out as far as the final cost, but we might have to transfer some money from some contingency in the general fund to cover the rest.
And basically, we're cutting checks as the project goes on, and what it comes in, the final price is what it ends up at?
Right.
We're just agreeing to 22.6?
Right, up to, yeah, so it wouldn't exceed 22.6,
Yep.
hopefully.
I'll second the motion. Any other questions?
No, obviously it's needed. I mean, you can't just leave it the way it is.
Okay.
The money is there along with it.
All right, I got a motion by Bemke, second by Zacher to approve this motion. Any other questions or concerns? Seeing none, I move to vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Item 3, review and consider for approval a change order for the replacement of the HVAC controls at Centralia Center.
Alright, so, as ACC they've been there for a couple months now, starting the bid that they were awarded last fall with the new rooftop units. They have come to kind of a couple dead end roads where they are finding that we had 7 VAVs, so those are variable air volume distributors throughout the system that were not on any of the blueprints that we submitted with the bidding process. We called Altman Construction. They didn't have the correct blueprints.
No, I have what they have.
So I think there's just been so many companies that were inside that building, they just never updated the blueprints as they proceeded to either add offices or additions into the back there. So as you can see, Ron's put this out in front of us. It was $21,615 for the 7 VAVs, the 3 RVs, and then the 8 EFs for controls. And then on the bottom of that was the 3 RTU curb adapters that they did not submit with the bid. So without these curb adapters, it pretty much would be impossible to do our next, so when we do the replacing of the roof, it'd be very hard for us to replace the roof without these curb adapters. So it'd be a total of, for the change order, it'd be $28,776. But again, without these additions to the bid, I mean, the work wouldn't be done, so even if they did bid this out, if they did go back and bid this out, these costs would still be on the original bid, and they would still be the lowest bid, so it wouldn't change anything with how we structured the bid award. So
Okay. Do you have a question?
I did, but I think he just answered it. This is pretty common, Tim, to do these change orders. Well,
Usually when you have any size, projects, it's not uncommon to have a change order based on stuff that couldn't be anticipated at the time of the bid or wasn't included in the bid specs. So, most of our projects of any considerable size, it's not uncommon to have a change order.
and this is the one that wasn't on the blueprints, correct?
yep.
Correct. Okay.
My understanding on these the roof curbs is so we can do the roof later
Yep.
without disturbing the new equipment.
Well,
we're
that
putting
keeps
in
them
now.
off the roof. They're not flat even with the roof, so water can't get into them.
Mhm.
Snow and ice. Yeah.
Right.
I'll make a motion to approve the $28,776 for the HVAC controls and added equipment.
I'll second the motion. Any further questions, comments, concerns? Seeing none, I move to vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it. There was a motion by Bemke and seconded by Zacher. Item 4, review bid results for replacing the roof at Centralia Center and consider bid award.
Yeah, Centralia Center again. So the bidding closed a couple weeks ago. We had 3 bidders, Nick Michaels and Son Inc., Quality Roofing Inc., and Oshkosh Industrial Roofing and Sheet Metal. Nick Michaels and Sons came in at the lowest at $412,552. Second was Quality Roofing at $575,000, and Oshkosh was $710,000. Clearly, this was a lot better than we expected doing the round 1 with the first bids that we did. Significantly a lot less than what we thought, considering we were close to 800,000 the last time. So
Do you have any idea why there's such a difference in, that's a couple $100,000.
insulation. So we took out
But what-
replacing.
Did
With like the different.
Mhm.
I couldn't tell you. You're probably comparing a Nissan to a Toyota type thing, So these bigger companies probably think they can just bid more than smaller companies, and so I have no idea why there's such that's almost $300,000 difference. So that I couldn't tell you. But we're very happy about where these numbers came in. And just one more piece of the puzzle in trying to fix that building.
And this is, we tentatively talked about ARPA for this project, correct?
Correct.
So once we get this resolved, we can move on with the rest of that.
Right, so, with our ARPA funds, we had 1,843,000. 513,000 of that was utilized for water main construction projects in '22. Assuming if the Michaels bid of 489,202 is taken as selected, subtract that, but right now I have all those ARPA funds invested since we got them, and we've earned about $46,000 in interest earnings on those. So we'll have about 887,000 left to find other projects for.
Good job. Making a little interest off the money while it's sitting there. Rather than just sitting there.
Michael's is your lowest bid?
Yep, at 489,202 with the sky roof.
And we're not gonna do installations, I have to.
Correct.
What does that mean? We're not doing insulation?
Oh, so the original bid back in, maybe it was December last year, we were going to have companies completely take out the entire insulation on top of the roof. But now we're not doing that. We are just, they're taking off the pea gravel rocks the best that they can and just doing an overlay. And leaving the insulation. So, besides where the skylights are getting removed, they're gonna have to re-insulate that, but.
They're taking those out?
Yep, correct.
Probably for the best, huh?
Yep.
Such a good idea once upon a time.
They always leak.
Yeah.
Eventually.
Oh.
Yeah,
we
eventually
saw
they
it.
always
Yeah.
leak, yeah.
Yep.
All the time.
So I'll make a motion to accept, I'm assuming we're talking about we're good with Nick Michaels and Sons have
Yep.
been checked out, everything's good to go, so, motion to accept the Nick Michaels and Sons bid at 489,202.
Second.
Any questions or comments?
No, I think Michael is a good decision from the area. Anybody know, have they done work for the city before?
Yeah.
Oh, they've been fixing the roof, patching it here and there for us, and then they also did the roof,
They did
VA and the YMCA.
They did a sign shop roof
Okay.
at Fire Station 2, I believe 2, on the west side they did,
Alright.
but that got done.
Got a motion by Zacher, seconded by Bemke. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, I move to vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it, 2-0. Item 5, review bid results for Prairie Dog Glass exhibit work and consider bid award.
Alright, so this closed last week, I believe April 6th. K&W was the only bidder on this project, and they came in at $35,780 for adding 36-inch glass walls to the concrete retaining walls for the Prairie Dog exhibit. So it'll the concrete comes off the ground about 3 feet, and then it'll be extended with 3 feet of safety plexiglass. I'm sorry, glass, not plexiglass. That'll go all the way around the exhibit. This will be paid through the Teskey Fund that the Teskey family left us for zoo exhibits. So won't be it's not coming out like park outlay or anything like that. So just funded, donated money.
So is this just, do you have anything to add, Tim? or-
Well, no, it's just, yeah, it was they donated the money as part of an estate, 300-some thousand. Right now we have about $296,448 in a segregated account that the wishes were to be used for zoo improvements.
Hmm.
So.
Do you invest that money too, or no? Yeah, good.
I try to invest a little more.
That's good, yeah.
Do you?
So they're not necessarily looking, we're just okaying it, like the
Yep.
money's already there and
Yeah,
everything, so
yep.
it's all set, so.
We just had to put it through the bidding process because it was over $25,000.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the bid from KNW Glass for the Prairie Dog Glass at the zoo.
I'll second the motion. Questions or comments?
No comment, just seems like a lot of money for the prairie dogs, but obviously, that's what it is. I'll go along with it.
There's no concerns about the amount of money that's being spent or anything?
No, the Park and Rec, committee already gave us permission to spend $70,000 for this project,
Okay,
so.
cut it in half.
Well, it helps.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Alright, so I have a motion by Bemke, seconded by Zacher. Any other questions or concerns?
Yeah, I'll be glad when you're done.
Me too.
Gotta learn to break them up across multiple agendas.
We're trying. We're trying.
Seeing none, I
Round
put
one.
it to a vote, cause you guys don't have questions or concerns, right? Okay. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Prairie dogs are in.
Thanks, thank you.
Yeah.
They'll be
Prairie dogs,
happy.
thank you.
Yes, they'll be happy.
They'll be happy.
All right. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, appreciate it, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for your work.
See you, see you.
See ya.
See you, Jake.
See you, Gordy.
Tim, Jennifer. Yeah.
Aye.
Bye. Item 6, consider for approval a special event application from Wood County Human Services, 111 West Jackson Street for a foster family appreciation street fair to be held Thursday, May 18th at 2023 from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Jennifer?
Yep, this is
Can I make a correction? The date should, I'm sorry, the date should be Tuesday, May 16th, same
Oh.
time.
Okay. I will make that change. So that's Jessica from the county. So this is a new event, which is why I'm presenting it to you for approval.
Any concerns?
Would she like
No.
the picture event?
Do you want to pitch the event?
Do I want to pitch it? Sure.
Yeah.
So, we have historically, excuse me, done a foster appreciation event for foster parents in May, because May is National Foster Care Month. And previous years we've done that part. We wanted to do some, we obtained some grant funding, for retention efforts for our foster families and wanted to do something different. So we're doing a street fair where we'll have food trucks, bounce house, music, face painting, and a fun family night for our foster families.
All right. Any questions?
No.
I will make a motion to approve the Wood County Human Services special event application for Tuesday, March 16th, 2023, 5 to 7.
Second.
Motion by Zacher, seconded by Bemke. Questions or comments? Seeing none, I move to vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it.
Thank you,
Thank
Jessica.
you.
So much.
You're welcome. I don't know why I'm saying that. I didn't do anything.
Item 7, review and consider for approval the 2023 Humane Society contract.
So with the Humane Society, we were asking for a $10,000 increase. The biggest reason for that is with our animal numbers that we have coming up, our vet costs are going through the roof. We are spending the most amount of money on our vet costs with the amount of animals that are coming in. A lot of inflation has a lot to do with that. With the animals that we do have that are coming in, we've gotten some pretty hard cases as well lately, just because vet care is not as affordable as it used to be in past. We had a dog that came in November that was close to $6,000-7,000 in care for that dog alone. So a lot of our vet care is definitely going up. I do have numbers for you guys if you would like them, just for what we've taken in for strays, bite quarantines, seized custodies for the county, as well as like owner jail cases, that kind of thing.
Jennifer. Thank you.
That was just something that we did based off of a confidentiality, but I was asked, by the mayor as well as the, city clerk to make sure that we are tracking owner surrenders now for the city of Wisconsin Rapids. I did include the numbers of the total that we did for both the county for 2022 and 2021.
So what you had just talked about before, there was a dog that had some issues and it cost $6,000 for medical treatment?
She came in weighing 14 pounds, pretty much on death's doorstep. We had taken her up to Paw Health as an emergency. It was a $2,000 bill right then and there up at the emergency clinic. The vet up there pretty much told us that her quality of life was not a decision for euthanasia and it's something that could have been treated. We followed up with our vet the following, after the weekend had happened, and they had also said the exact same thing, that it was something that was treatable. So we did not think it was a decision for euthanasia. She had irritable bowel disease. So pretty much it was a 6-month process. She was just actually made available today for adoption, but overall total cost was $7,000.
That's an unusual case, but
It is, but
it is just showing us that our vet costs, having the availability to go to different vets right now because a lot of them are full. We're having trouble getting into vets, getting appropriate care that is affordable. We don't have an in-house vet, so we have to utilize all the vets in the area as much as possible. And with their numbers, it's very hard to get into any place.
We've been driving for our vet care, so we've actually been driving up to Neilsville for a vet, just because with the vets in the area do not have the ability and space for our animals as well.
Our vet costs have gone through the roof overall. I mean, over 100% increase. It's just ridiculous how much we are. So we're trying to resolve that problem, but it's been gradually going up.
Okay.
And we have not increased, right? For how
We
many?
have not increased rates, at least from what I have of records, for at least 4 or 5 years.
Increased rates for?
The city of Wisconsin Rapids contract.
So how many other communities are you providing services for?
I believe we have 26 municipalities that we work with.
And do you have any, besides these communities, do you have any other funding sources?
Our donations and our fundraisers are the 2 highest. Since COVID, our fundraisers have took a plummet just due to the fact that we're trying to rebrand our fundraisers, work on different programs that we have, just due to the fact that COVID took a huge hit on us. We were pretty much using all of our spending and our savings accounts that we had. We were getting spent at that point. So it's kind of, since COVID, we're trying to get back up with our fundraisers. Our donations are still fantastic, but our fundraising is definitely slacking heavily.
And she has taken a look at every contract throughout, and has pinpointed where we need to make increases. There was a general overall increase, and then also hit up, where we are largely needed, so that we can analyze that. Before Madison, we had inconsistent EDs going in and out. Coming onto the board right now, I'm realizing how much we're having to sift through all our paperwork to make sure we're getting the numbers we need and the amount, and looking all through that. So she's been doing a great job of just revitalizing and just getting these contracts up to date.
So if you don't mind me asking, what's your total operating budget for the year?
I completely forgot to look at that one, that would be a Tory question.
Yeah, I
Do you
don't
remember off the top of your head?
No, I haven't seen it.
Do you have a ballpark?
Gotta be completely honest, I don't off the top of my head.
So how long have you been?
I've been with the Humane Society for this shelter for 2 years, and I previously worked for another shelter for 3.5 years.
Okay. And you're saying that the rates haven't been increased over the last 4 years, but you don't necessarily know why?
Yeah, per pretty much looking at a lot of our contracts, all of our other municipalities were not increased since 2014 for some reason. So we increased heavily on our other municipalities, and we are, at least City of Rapids, from what I looked back on our records, it looks like it hasn't been for the last 4 years.
So are you going back to these other groups and doing the same thing?
Yep, yep.
Absolutely.
We did that already at the beginning of the year.
And the cost is mainly being driven, from what I'm hearing you say, because of vet costs.
It's our vet costs. A lot of the stories that we have for the county, when we were pulling the records, we are pretty much a 50-50 split of if animals are actually getting picked up. We're starting to see a lot more animals dumped by owners as they're not coming to pick up their animals. So we of course have to vet those costs of if they're not altered, if they're not up to date on vaccines, microchipped, if there's a special medical concern that they have, so we need to amputate a leg or whatever that situation would be. Our vet costs have just pretty much skyrocketed. A lot of the county, at least from what we noticed, is we're having a lot of issues with vet care as people cannot afford vet care nowadays, so they're just not doing it.
And just overall operation costs have increased as well, food, I mean,
Everything.
everything.
Yep.
You guys know this. So,
I get that. I guess my only concern is one is, we do our budget started in August, correct? I guess that would probably be the proper time to come.
Yep.
And, go ahead, Tim.
Oh, no, just if you remember from the last meeting we had, you know, I said that probably in October of next year, then we would be looking at and discussing the 2024 Humane Society contract as part of the budget process.
And I guess the other thing is I just want to make sure that the residents of Rapids aren't funding the majority of this and kind of subsidizing some of the, surrounding areas.
I think we look at it, per municipality, we're trying to really hone in on where the costs are coming from and that's why we are trying to track the surrenders as well, so we can be more specific with those costs as well.
But that could be, you could have, I think we heard a story of, there was a big surrender the last time we talked about, in the 20s. Is that
The Horton case?
possibly?
Okay, the 76 min pins,
What were they?
miniature pinchers.
How many?
76. So if I remember correctly, it was Babcock. I was not here for that, but they took in 76 miniature pinchers and a couple poodles from a residency that was severely neglected cases. That was a situation that I think it was a slap on the wrist situation, that there was no invoicing, no payment at that time or anything along those lines to really support those vet costs that came in. We just had one back in December where I took in 24 cats from a property that was infested with fleas. Cats were in extremely disgusting conditions.
I think
so.
that's the one that we were talking about.
The one that was just recently, yeah. So that was another one from City of Rapids that we just took in all of those cats, and they all were infested with fleas, tapeworms, etc. So each one of those cats were extra expense costs that had to be dealt with, that were not just a basic spay and neuter vaccines out the door kind of situation.
Tim, do we, I know we're gonna talk about it as budget, but like, how do we plan every year for Humane Society? Do we just wait? If
Well, no,
for
we
4 years there is no increase.
Right, we
just-
budget for it annually, as part of the budget, so.
So, I know you do it for our stuff, every year you build in an increase when you're working on the budget, not for these, not like the Humane Society and the outside ones.
And the budget for this year was based on what the last year amount in the previous years.
So you didn't add anything to that?
No, but obviously, any adjustment in the contract would be part of a budget amendment.
And where would this, if we were to approve it, where would the money, general fund?
It would come from the contingency. We always have a contingency amount for unanticipated type costs or things that come up during the year, because obviously, the budget isn't a perfect process, and so we always have reserve funds for when situations arise that were unanticipated or circumstances change.
Dennis, do you have anything?
Well, I do have a question. Does the county help you in any way?
No.
They don't?
So we
Don't
were.
they pay you anything?
I believe okay, I apologize. The Humane Society, or the Humane Officer Program, there is a $2,500 amount that comes from the humane officers, but that does not cover the amount that we have to handle with vet quarantines, with our seizures of owners. We have to take them with the hoarding cases, so that amount also is not covering it.
You have a ballpark figure of what you normally receive
For the seizures,
from the county?
it's the $2,500.
It's a flat.
It's the
Alright.
flat rate.
But the services that we're offering for that is well beyond that. So we have to consider that as well later on.
Do you get any other outside funding from any of the other townships?
Our townships, they cover the basics for those animals of when they're coming in for the strays, so they are paying for those, and that is covering the vet cost for those.
So it's kind of it's not like the city where we spend $75,000 for the last number of years. They pay as they go, as they use the service.
So the other townships, or at least municipalities, are billed quarterly, and then I believe it's Town of Grand Rapids and City of Wisconsin Rapids are billed annually.
Okay, but it's not, if one of your townships has 4 cats, they pay for 4 cats.
Yeah, we do base it, obviously, the cost did go up this year because they were not at where they needed to be, so it will be an increase as well.
Was Wisconsin Rapids always a flat rate rather than a per animal?
Yes.
I think that might have come from years and years ago when the
Yeah.
city actually used to be the like own humane society, so to speak, and it, you know.
Yeah, and we're
obviously-
trying,
but
like I
I think
said-
that's when we got out of the business, that's when we contracted with, I was gonna start that process. I don't know how many years ago that was, but
I can remember when we
I'm
had
sure
a
that's
dog
where it
pound.
originated. Huh?
I can remember where we when and where we had an old dog pound.
Yeah.
And a dog catcher and.
But I'm guessing that's how the annual contract originated.
Do you know, I know we're throwing numbers at you, but what the vet costs are in total for all the communities? Yes, sir.
What's the FMJ? I don't have it split up based off each municipality. I
No,
have it as
just
like
in total.
total. No, it was higher than that. I wanna say close to 78,000 just last year alone. Which previously was sitting about 56,000.
What is it? What's the going rate to be able to get somebody who can provide the services in-house? What's the break even on that?
For like if we were to get a vet hired on.
Vet or somebody that can handle some of the less,
Vet averaging right now is 80,000 to 120,000 yearly.
Yeah, we are looking into possibly doing a part-time thing, but we also don't have a surgical suite.
yeah.
Our building needs renovations to be able to accommodate, and we need to be able to afford that as well and keep that into our budget. So, yeah, we're looking at all those options as well, because the vet costs have gone up and the vets in the area are so busy that they're not able to reach out as much as they used to. Even for our bite quarantines, we're having them have trouble just coming in to do a rabies check, which is a 2-minute look at the dog and walk away. So we're struggling with that all around with that, so. I think it's pretty much all humane societies are struggling with that too as well. It's not just us.
Do you have a motion?
Well, yes and no. I guess I can support this tonight, but I would like to see before council if you could get your total budget and I'd like to see how it breaks out, what we're paying, what your budget is, and so if you could maybe just if you could get that up to Tim.
Okay.
So we're gonna pass it through to council?
I think yeah, we can
Yeah.
have this discussion there then.
That sounds good.
So I'll make a motion to approve this.
I'll second the motion. Any other questions or concerns? Seeing none, I move to vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it.
86 is what's on the agenda.
So, yeah, we're gonna take it up at council then and go from there.
Probably wouldn't be a bad idea if they came for council then.
And council is
Yeah, I think-
Thursday, this Thursday at 6 o'clock.
Unless, do you need more time than that?
I think we should be good.
We'll get it.
And then still here again.
It'll be in the council chambers,
Got it.
bigger room, yeah.
And you're welcome to stay for the rest, or you can sit down.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
with all
Thank
your
you.
work. Thank you. Item 8, review and consider for approval policies for the mass transit grant.
Okay. As part of a review with the state who administers the mass transit program, and we both get federal and state dollars. They're the pass-through agency for the federal. This year, this is the last year of our 5-year operating service provider contract. So later, or sometime this midsummer, we'll begin the process of going out for bid for a new 5-year operating contract. And as part of that, we're reviewing our policies and getting those up to date, because obviously the last time we did this was 5 years ago, and a lot of those policies, there's verbiage that you have to add, new ones come through, either it's being pushed down from the federals to the state, or the state's requiring new policies. So we have 2 new policies tonight and 1 just update. The first one is a Title 6 non-discrimination plan, and basically what it is that we just needed to add language, a couple verbiage changes, but basically it was to add the 711 number. So if there's a patron that has trouble with English and you need an interpreter or things like that, that they have resources to have that. And that's basically all that is updating that. And we have to put it on our website that those services are available. So that's the first one. That's all that's really changing, is some verbiage stuff, but that's basically the main point of that one.
So we have to, just curious, going off 711, we have to have.
And so they have
translation
resources to
services?
find an interpreter if they're having trouble
Is that
communicating.
people or is that apps?
I'm not sure exactly.
You
It's
don't know
just
yet?
resources. No, I think it's through Karen in my office kind of deals with this stuff, but it's just something we have to have available, or they have that, it identifies those resources where we get it. And it's kind of looking for where those resources are.
Okay.
So, but first we're getting the policy in place, and then we got to work on kind of getting, some of those resources if they're available.
Is that the city's responsibility or the cab companies?
We're responsible for everything in the grant, so it's our responsibility. But what that entails is that we're still looking into, it's just getting the policy in place first and then getting those.
Can you give me just a little bit of overhead? So we're in charge of everything except for what? What are we hiring for? What's the contract? Just for driving?
Right, we hire, right now we have River City Cab, which actually operates the cab service. We have an operating contract, the city has an operating contract with them. And 2, we have a contract with the state of Wisconsin, because we are the grantee, so we're responsible for everything. And so we hire the cab company or the service provider to provide those services on behalf of the city of Wisconsin. So it's our cab service, so we're contracting it out.
So any liability issues?
Right, well, we require our service operator obviously to have proper insurance. We have our insurance, so, that's all covered.
All right.
And then, like I said, we have, complaint forms, so if someone has a complaint about the operator, that comes to us and we address that. So we're basically, it's our service, we're contracting it out.
And so we're paying them, we're contracting them, and we're paying them one lump sum over a year's time, or?
We pay them,
quarterly?
we have a monthly.
Monthly?
Yeah,
Okay.
they submit a financial statement and we reimburse them their operating deficit, basically, so it's their operating costs less their cab fares. And then there's a formula where, then we get reimbursed from the state and federal government as part for that.
So they're charging the customer,
Correct.
but that's not enough? We subsidize
correct,
them?
right.
And then we get subsidized by the state?
Right, and the majority of it's funded through federal and state grants. I think the city's operating is about 80,000 is subsidy for that. So we get about $300,000 to $400,000 in grants. Any of the cabs that are purchased are federally funded at 80%, local match 20%, but there are vehicles.
Okay.
So,
So we own all the vehicles,
Yes.
the fleet?
yep,
So hiring, contracting the drivers.
yep, basically.
who don't get paid, I'm sorry, I'm just.
Well, we don't
I have
contract
this.
we contract with the service provider. You know, he's
They hire-
employing the
they
people,
hire
he's
the
employing the
contractor.
drivers and things like that.
But they know when the people are, so this is for people who can't necessarily afford. We wanna make sure they have transportation.
Right, the intent of the intent of the program is to provide, you know, transportation for those who don't have other means.
Well,
Yeah.
that's our, I mean, bigger communities have buses and.
Right.
and so this is our.
Yep.
Just curious, do you know how they, does everybody get a flat, charge the same flat rate that we know isn't enough, but?
It all, there's a fee schedule, and then there's ones for that, you know, if you know, depending on where the location or the pickup location, things, there's other things like that. So if we pick up someone from Grand Rapids, there's a different charge than someone from here, and, or if we maybe drive them to Point for something like a class or something. So there's a fee schedule, so it, but, you know, in the city, for city residents, it's pretty much a flat rate, you know, or then flat rate plus maybe number of passengers. I can't remember the schedule offhand.
And this isn't a contract thing with the customers, like, anybody can call and get a.
Get a ride home tonight?
I might, that's what I'm getting at. Okay, all right, so, thank you.
Mr. Chair, Tim, what type of complaints you received and then how do you handle it?
I don't really receive, we don't get, you know, like, if we do get a complaint, and it's, we don't get a lot of complaints, but usually the complaints we get is like, I've been waiting for this cab for, you know, I called and they haven't been here for how many minutes or whatever, and, you know, and that's just the, you know, we only have so many cabs out there, you know, depending on what the call volume, what the time of day it is, it can vary, you know, but, usually if we get a complaint, we contract the owner of this, service provider, and, you know.
It's their responsibility to deal with the complaints, correct? Not.
Well, as part of it is that there's yes, they can call the cab company, but as part, we also need some here at city, so if they don't feel comfortable or they're not satisfied, that they can, you know, file a complaint with us, and then we look into it, and, you know, we'll contact and try to resolve it.
You get
but-
pretty good cooperation then when you?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, usually there's usually, like I said, most of them I think are just, it's the wait time, and that's unfortunate because, you know, sometimes it's just, you know, the cabs are out, they're busy, you know. But I think you saw some of that being relieved a little bit by some of the private cab services that, you know, have come along in the past couple of years, is to kind of hopefully fill that void of where what we can't cover.
The only thing we have to do with them is approving licenses, is that correct? Other than that,
Yes.
they run their businesses.
We approve the cab license, and we approve the taxi license and the driver license.
Okay.
Yeah, that comes through the clerk's office.
Okay.
Are we gonna do these all together, or just?
It's up to you.
Just,
Do what, I'll
well, there's more to go here, right?
There's two more.
Yeah, go ahead.
There's one's federal awards, and this is just basically, this is just the, you know, with all federal grants, and this is just a standard boilerplate policy that says that, you know, of all the costs, they're reasonable, they're allocable, you know, you're accounting for them properly and things like that, stuff that we're already doing. It's just putting into a policy form that, you know, stating that we have this on file. There's really nothing new here that we don't already do, it's just putting it, you know, in a policy that is required now.
Okay.
So, and that just has to do with how we allocate costs, where we record them, making sure they're in the general ledger and things like that. Accounting speak, sort of. And the last one is a protest policy for mass transit grant contracts. And this is basically just that we afford a procedure that if someone wants to protest that, you know, the procurement process for, like, say when we go out for bid, they didn't feel that it was fair, that we have a mechanism in place where they can file and protest the decision that was made. And that just kind of goes through what the submittal procedures are, that the evaluation process of the complaint, and evaluation of protests, and so that we have that on file and on our website. So if anyone ever felt that, you know, whether it's procurement of vehicles or it's, like I said, the 5-year operating contract, if they ever felt like, you know, it was not a fair process, there's a mechanism in place where they can formally make that complaint. And we have a process that will follow according to this policy.
So with these policy additions, do you see any issues?
Nope.
No?
They're pretty much just, you know, you have them there, so hopefully we never have to use them, but, you know, it's there for if someone feels that, you know, they were wronged in some way, that here's the procedure, and we have to follow it, so it's holding, you know, it's having that process there available, but also making sure the city does its due diligence and does it consistent. I mean, the big thing with this is that you're consistently handling any complaint or protest the same.
And there wasn't a reason, like,
This
that
is just
stood
one
out?
that, where the state says you need this
But
policy.
there's not a
done.
reason why did something happen that they all of a sudden are kind of pushing this, or is it just?
No, well, a lot of times this stuff gets pushed down from the federal government,
Okay.
you know, and, you know, it's, with federal grants, there's a lot of administrative hoops to jump through, you know, with all the policies that you have to have,
Okay.
things like that. And a lot of it is just, you know, just the federal government says you need this policy in place, so.
Okay. Questions, concerns? I'll make a motion to approve these policies in the mass transit grant. Is that what you need, or what do you need?
Maybe we should just do them individually so that we have them identified, since it's, this one's a long one.
They don't have names, like headings?
Right here.
Okay.
A motion to approve the Title VI non-discrimination plan.
Do we need to read the whole thing, Jennifer, or do you, like, where, is that? all-
That's
Policy.
good enough for me, yeah.
All right, I'll make the motion to approve the non-discrimination policy.
Second.
Oh, thank you.
Not at all, wait for a second.
So that's one. Second one, Jim?
Federal
Did
awards.
Did you vote? Did you
Oh, I'm
vote?
sorry, my fault. No questions or concerns, move to vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it, 2-0. Second policy?
Federal awards policy.
I'll move to approve the federal awards policy.
I'll second. Questions, concerns? Seeing none, move to vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it. That was a motion by Bemke, second by Zacher. First one was motion by Zacher, second by Bemke. Third motion, policy, Tim?
Protest policy for mass transit grant contracts.
I'll make a motion to approve the award,
Protest policy.
Protest policy.
Second.
All, questions or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say nay. Nay, ayes have it. That was a motion by Zacher, second by Bemke. Okay, Tim, you got everything?
Yep, and like I said, whoever's on the finance committee this upcoming, probably either June or July, we'll start the procurement process for an new operating, 5-year operating contract. So that's a very lengthy process and scoring system, so
We're gonna get an education.
you'll know the ins and outs of the mass transits.
Jennifer, do you have anything you need for that?
I do, thank you.
Yep. Item number 9, audit the bills, Jay?
I'll make a motion to approve check numbers 16003 through 16679.
I will second that motion. Questions, comments, concerns?
No one.
Seeing none, I move to vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it. That was a motion by Bemke, seconded by Zacher. Set next meeting date.
May 2nd is the first Tuesday.
Hopefully things go smoother this month than last month. Getting to that point, May 2nd, 4 o'clock.
Sure. I think so.
All right, next meeting date is set for May 2nd, 2023 at 4 o'clock. Item 11, adjournment.
So moved.
So seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Motion by Bemke, seconded by Zacher.
Before PM. Okay.